Hello everybody and welcome to the debut episode of the recent issues as a proper reviewing series thing. For this episode I'm going to be doing 2 comics in one video. If you prefer it where it's just 1 per video, let me know and I'll go back to that format. But for now we're going to do 2 for this one because I want to get this over as quickly as possible. Now, a quick background check on this story. You should all by now be familiar with the 2007 controversial 4-part storyline One More Day. If not, please go watch Hellsing920's long box review of it, because I refuse to make any more comments about that embarrassment to comic book fans everywhere. However, I will state that it was designed to be an initial reboot to the Spider-Man franchise, to clean up various parts of the continuity, alter various plot points, and offer new directions in terms of storytelling, much like Iron Man Extremis had done before it. However, unlike Extremis, One More Day was universally panned by critics and comic book fans alike. However, considering this is a reboot / cleaning up continuity, many fans were left asking questions about the new status quo or wanted answers about this new universe writer, editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, Joe Quesada, had created. 3 years later, Joe Quesada and artist Paulo Rivera gave us one moment in time that would answer a lot of these questions regarding the history of events between Spider-Man's wedding up to Civil War. However, this storyline left some of us scratching our heads and asking more questions. Our story begins with the revealing of what Mary Jane whispered into Mephisto's ear during One More Day. We've already heard Linkara scream about this, so let's move on. The comic then jumps to present day, in which Mary Jane visits Peter Parker with a bottle of wine. She's all cheerful while Peter pretty much scratching his head as to why she's here. She informs him it's time they had that chat they promised each other. They both sit down and practically say what we've all been nodding our heads at. I sure as hell don't like the way things are now. I know. Me too. Maybe they're trying to tell you something, Marvel. The comic then jumps to several years ago. Either these are panels from an old comic, or somebody did a very good job at mirroring the old style of Marvel Comics. It is a pretty decent way to showcase this is a long time ago. They also used this trick during Venom Bomb in the Mighty Avengers comic a few years back. The comic then jumps to a different art style again as Spider-Man webs up a goon and giving off a corny one-liner. We then cut to a few minutes later as our unnamed goon is in the back of a squad car. Then a bird comes flying in the car, which our goon is just looking at. A bird! That's it! It's an omen! I shall become a bird! And thus is born this weird figure of the dark, this avenger of evil, the... Birdman manages to escape the squad car and makes a run for it. We then cut back to some older panels from an old comic, pretty much putting emphasis on the wedding while Peter continues to mope about Gwen Stacy some more. Also have nightmares involving Gwen and all his enemies. Seriously, is it possible for this guy to think happy thoughts for once in his life? However, a disturbance catches Spidey's attention and he swings into action. It turns out Birdman is behind the commotion and proceeds to brick Spidey's head, as opposed to the other form of bricking some of you may be aware of. After taking a nasty fall, Spidey is KO'd until later that day when he misses the entire wedding. MJ is distraught and issue 1 ends with her standing outside the church crying. Issue 2 opens with what happened next. You know, I could sit here and read every tear-jerking possible gag material line in this comic, so instead I'll let this piece of music speak for itself.
How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes, got nowhere to run. The night goes on as I'm fading away. I'm sick of this life, I just wanna scream. How could this happen to me?
After the clear up from the wedding, we soon learn what Mary Jane has been doing all this time between then and Civil War. Pursue an acting / modelling career. Whoopee. However, things are made very difficult for Miss Watson as everywhere she looks, Spider-Man is always to be seen. You know, this is what happens when you live in the same city as your ex-boyfriend. And he also happens to be a superhero. Finally, she decides to put up with Peter Parker and goes to see him. They get back together just in time for... yes, all this bullshit. May still gets shot, and Spidey tries his best to solve the problem in the same fashion from One More Day, minus all the interactions with Mephisto. Peter tries everyone and everything to stop it, yet to no avail, and he walks into the night moping. Again, a piece of music helps sum this up. Peter and Mary Jane arrive at the hospital and Aunt May slowly fades away. Our comic ends with Peter punching her in the chest and she somehow gains a pulse again. Wow, Marvel. Bit of a stretch, isn't it? And yeah, as you can see from this ending, it does a very poor job at asking some of the more important questions like Spidey's involvement in the New Avengers, all the adventures that led up to the whole Civil War story. So yeah, join us next time for the grand conclusion to this colossal fuck-up.